A little light, but pretty good. Coffee is not too bad today. It was so much colder today, this morning, than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like going to be 50 or something like that. It was not. It was a little bit colder. So, but it's all right. It's another day, another opportunity. Every single moment we're alive is a chance at rebirth. Today we're going to be actually be speaking on 17 inspirational quotes, which I'm sharing the link right now to help you refocus and renew. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Here we go. I'm like, okay, yeah, it loaded up fine. Okay, so thank you for joining me. My name is Al Guevara. I was off on Friday. I did not do a live video on Friday. I was actually out on a boot camp for men from Thursday all the way through Sunday, and it was a great experience. A lot to unpack in regards to that, and just moving forward, we've got some stuff to think about and how we're going to be living our life and how we're going to be trying to affect people in a positive way. Today also marks the attack, surprise Japanese assault on Pearl Harbor back on December 7th, 1941. So we're talking about what now? Golly, 79 years? On the morning of December 7th, 1941, Japan launched a sneak attack on the U.S. Pacific Fleet's base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii as part of a plan to eliminate any potential challenge to Japanese conquests in Asia. The attack compelled the United States to enter World War II as a combatant and to wage a costly, bloody struggle to defeat the Japanese Empire, which was massive. The events set in motion by the attack also led to the United States becoming global superpower. So that was literally a huge shift in American policy from being isolationists to becoming interventionists globally. So like we actually started becoming a global superpower. But that's not what today's about. I just do want to, of course, um, remember and pray for those lost on that attack and everything beyond that. And it was a date, like they said, that will live in infamy and cannot be forgotten and will not and never will be forgotten. So, with that in mind, today we're talking about quotes to help us refocus and renew. Okay, so here we go. This one's a great article again by one of my favorite creators, Lydia Sweat. She puts together such great quotes that we can unpack, that we can um, discuss, kind of share our thoughts on. And it starts like this. It's happening again. Now, it's funny because this particular article is focused on springtime, right? But for me, the reason I chose this was twofold. One, because of what I went through this weekend, kind of what we discussed this weekend, and two, a lot of people tend to see the end of the year and the beginning of the year as a time of rebirth. Remember when 2020 was set to begin? It's like for a lot of people, 2020 had been a target year, right? It's like it was just the symmetry of it. 2020, it was just calling us with its just that feeling, right? So we're looking forward to, this is my year, 2020, brand new decade. It was just something magical about it. Well, for the most part, that's every year, right? Every time a new year comes around, people look at it as a starting point or an end point of something bad, starting point of something good. And what are we going to do? We're going to renew ourselves. We're going to refresh ourselves. We're going to refocus, re energize, and recommit ourselves to something. So that's what we're talking about. So, this particular article, when it starts talking about refreshing and renewal, it's talking about spring. So as the earth, refreshes its soil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, inspiring quotes to blossom in the person you want to become. Okay, let's take that. Let's and see what these quotes mean to us as we are deep in the last month. Well, not deep in the month, right? But deep in the year of 2020, the year that was. We're starting, for the most part, the end of the first week of December 2020. So let's see what next year holds for us. And we don't even have to wait until the end of the year or the beginning of the year to make these changes. You can literally do it every single day. Every single moment we're alive is a chance at rebirth. Every single moment we're alive is a chance at rebirth. Quote number 1, Marianne Williamson. You must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. Your reinvigoration, your exposure to new thoughts, to new ideas, new ways of being must be learned prior to changing the way you are, prior to mastering a new way to be. The journey of self discovery is crucial. This weekend, I actually come to realize that something I took as not so much gospel, right, but something I just kind of flippantly addressed as an anecdote had a lot deeper and substantial meaning and effects in my life. So, taking the opportunity to do some soul searching, self discovery, could yield you huge dividends. I've seen a lot of videos live or pre-recorded and YouTube or motivational type speakers or whatever, and many of them have to do with making you feel good, and it's, hey, it's a great day, blah blah, and it's just kind of like you get on the pony ride outside of the supermarket because it gets you going, and it gets you excited or whatever. That's not what I'm about. I'm about discussing these quotes and kind of peeling back the layers to make you realize that there's more in this world. There's more than the superficial that we deal with every day. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. A lot of people aren't comfortable with going beyond what is presented, going beyond what is comfortable, and accepting that there's something beneath. Sometimes something rotten beneath. And why is it important to discover something rotten beneath? Well, because once you discover that there's something rotten underneath, you can actually do away with it. You can take steps to get rid of things that are causing you troubles, giving you speed bumps, taking you off of your track that you should be on. If there's something underneath what that you haven't dealt with, that's going to be the unevenness that you feel when you're trying to walk your path, trying to become the best you can be. So that's what I do. That's why I discuss these sort of things. And I appreciate it if you would share these videos, because if we can share this type of insight to people, maybe they will then take the step to start doing some soul searching and looking into themselves and getting rid of the things that are detrimental to them and making their life better, thereby making our world and existence better. Who am I to think I can make this sort of change or make this sort of effect or affect people in this way? I am a human being. I'm a person living in this existence with you. Just like me, you can take your power and you can decide to do what I do. You can decide to talk to people like this. You can decide to share ideas like this with people. And together we can make a difference. Together we can start changing things for the positive. There's plenty of people who are ready and willing and able to add to the negative side of the scale of life and imbalance it. Imbalance it in a negative way. And if we do nothing and just watch it happen, and not do our part and put something on this positive side, a compliment, being there for someone, advice, help, fixing ourselves, putting on the positive side of life. If we don't do that, it'll be weighed the other way. Let's do our part. share my videos, share my message, and let's make a difference, whether it's here, in our family, in our city, whatever it is. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Sky. We can make a difference. You must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. Marianne Williamson. Next. Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda. Let's do it that. It's easier to pronounce. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Nature's the ultimate teacher, right? In our house or in front of our house, we have I don't know, I think it's a rubber tree or whatever. And when we first bought the house, it was literally a stump. It was a stump with dead pieces, and the dirt was dry, and nobody had lived in the house for a while. And my mother-in-law comes over, and she sees it, and she kind of grabs the dead pieces, pulls it off, kind of looks around, digs around, kind of digs around the tree, whatever. The tree is literally past the second floor window now because of that. First off, the green thumb, right? But the fact that just because something looks dead doesn't mean there's no life within it. Just because our relationships or our will to live seem that small doesn't mean we don't have a future ahead of us and we don't have life ahead of us. Just because we've been beaten down to the very smallest, barely alive, person we could be doesn't mean at some point in the future we are going to be someone's savior. A difference in someone's life that's going to make them realize that life is worth living. And that's you. That's you. You being available to somebody. You speaking to your friends. You speaking love to your family. You speaking positivity to your children, to your spouse, to your coworkers and friends and loved ones. That's you. Just when everything seems like it can only get more and more negative and it seems like it's never ending, guess what? You can put some, Flex Seal tape on there and stop the flow of negativity and make a change, make a difference. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. I walked amongst forests and detritus this weekend at the boot camp we went to, and there's a lot of trees that have been felled and plants that have died and all that. But what does that do? It becomes compost, right? It breaks down into the soil with the nutrients and starts feeding new life. That's what we do. We feed new life into people. We feed new life. We feed life that is just waiting for something to enrich it with our positivity, with our love. Some of the scariest things in life are teenage lives and our children's lives. They need as much nourishment and enrichment as possible in their lives to make sure that they grow up to be strong and mighty. It's our job. And not just your children. Everybody's. Humanity's. We make a difference. And I take it seriously. And I urge you to take it seriously as well as we talk about refreshing and renewal. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Pablo Neruda. Next, J. Pierpont Morgan. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you are not going to stay where you are. I love these quotes because I'm reading these for the first time. So what I'm sharing with you is literally my initial reaction to these posts. Like right now when the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you are not going to stay where you are. Just because you are somewhere doesn't mean you have to stay there. You're not cemented. You're not bolted down to where you are right now. And that has as much to do with your physicality as it has to do with your emotional and spiritual well being. If right now you feel down in the dumps and depressed and feel, have no hope, decide that you're not going to stay where you are. Like, well, I can't. Okay, let's talk about what we've talked about before. If the payoff is big enough, you're going to find out how to do it. What is the payoff to getting out of your depression? What is the payoff to getting out of your situation? What is the benefit of doing it? Make it big enough. Make it big enough that the how is going to work itself out. I'm going to go back to one of my favorite quotes from a previous talk. It said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Thomas Edison. That goes hand in hand with this one. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you are not going to stay where you are. You don't like your status in life. You don't like your job. You don't, whatever it is, decide you're not going to stay where you are and start making changes. Start taking steps to get you from where you are to where you want to go. First step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are. J. Pierpont Morgan. Next, Lao Tzu. Oof. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Wow. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. It's like the acorn, right? The acorn is the acorn. Good morning, Sandra. An acorn is an acorn, but when it lets go of what it is, what does it become? What is the potential inside an acorn? A mighty oak tree, towering over everything and everyone. It's incredible. Who or what might you be? Do you know someone in your life or in your past who you saw something in them and you go, man, this person is going to become someone amazing. And for whatever reason, they did not. They settled. They decided to not let go of who they were. They allowed somebody else to tell them who they were, to control them into believing a lie. Believing a lie that they were not meant to be more. They were not meant to be who they were meant to be. You see it all the time. I've seen it all my life. I'm related to people who never lived up to their potential. Don't get me wrong. They're phenomenal people. They're great people. And who they are amazing. But I just know that they could have been that much more. I'm guilty of it. We all are. Settling. Allowing ourselves to be devalued, allowing others to tell us who we are, and who they tell us who we are is someone lesser, and that's a lie. You're a child of God, and you have so much inside you that the world needs. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Lao Tzu. Next, Franz Kafka. There are some things one can only achieve by a deliberate leap in the opposite direction. Man, talk about being stuck in a rut and not, and just deciding that's how it's going to be. It's like there's a perfectly formed groove, right? Starts up here and just goes straight down like a roller coaster. And in that perfectly formed groove, the perfect size, spherical, perfectly shaped ball bearing can be put on there and pushed, and off it goes. Sometimes that's how our life feels, like we have no other choice but to go down the exact route we're going down. And that route is putting us in the presence of people that are toxic to us, and they are affecting our well-being, our spiritual, emotional, physical well-being. And we think there's no other way. That's my lot in life. And there are some things one can only achieve by a deliberate leap in the opposite direction. That little ball bearing needs to literally grow some feet and go, stop and jump. This isn't how the path I want to be on. This isn't who I want to be at the end of my life. There's one life. Don't be a passenger. Be a driver in your own life. There are some things one can only achieve by a deliberate leap in the opposite direction. Franz Kafka. Next. Ralph Marston. Rest when you're weary. Refresh and renew yourself. Your body, your mind, your spirit. Then get back to work. As much as we'd all like to be able to have a life filled with nothing but relaxation and peace, there's work to be done. Work gets you weary. We need to refresh. We need to renew. Even if we take a moment of our time to close our eyes and just take a deep breath. And when you exhale, just release the stress. Try and find some quiet time. Rest when you're weary. Refresh and renew yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. Then get back to work. Ralph Marston. Next, Paul Cezanne. Genius is the ability to renew one's emotions in daily experience. Oof. It's all about renewing your emotions, isn't it? That's your weariness. That's your heartache. That's your pain. Being stuck in pain because somebody told you to be stuck in pain. Being stuck in desperation because somebody tells you you deserve to be in desperation. When every single moment we're alive is a chance at rebirth, we choose how we renew our emotions. Sometimes it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel. Don't forget that there's joy in life. There's joy in love. There's happiness. And we have to find it. There's joy in your life. You have to find it. You have to remind yourself. Genius is the ability to renew one's emotions in daily experience. Paul Cezanne. Stanley Kunitz. I can hardly wait for tomorrow. It means a new life for me each and every day. New life every day. You realize you can start a brand new life today. What you decide to do with today will decide what that new life is going to be for you. I have this conversation all the time with Sandra and people in my office and my wife, my daughter even, It's like, what do you want today to be? What do you want tomorrow to be? Tomorrow is dictated by today, not yesterday. Yesterday could have been a terrible day. Nothing went right. What's going to happen today? What's more of the same? Is that what you want? Is that what you're stating to today that you want today to be? More of the same. Or are you going to be the driver in your life and say, nope, today's a different day. Today I'm going to do this instead of that. Today I'm going to do that instead of this. So tomorrow can be better than yesterday and today. And tomorrow's tomorrow will be better than tomorrow. I can hardly wait for tomorrow. It means a new life for me each and every day. Stanley Kunitz. Joseph Campbell. We must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that's waiting for us. The old skin has to be shed before the new one can come. See, on this one, the first two sentences do it all for me. That last sentence is almost unnecessary. And that's how I discuss these types of quotes, just what I feel right when I read it. We must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. The old skin has to be shed before the new one can come. But I like that first part, right? We plan all these things. And some things, yeah, are beneficial, especially when you're planning something that's beneficial as opposed to what you're living. You know, just because you're living something or you're living a situation doesn't mean that that is what life is meant to be. And that's the common recurring theme in all these quotes, it seems, for me. What if the life you've got planned is just what's been expected of you? What's been put upon you by previous generations or previous relationships? It's like, well, this is all my life is because somebody convinced you of that. We must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. The old skin has to be shed before the new one can come. Joseph Campbell. James Russell Lowell. Each day the world is born anew for him who takes it rightly. Each day the world is born anew for him who takes it rightly. That's basically a follow-up to the previous ones. Today is a new day. What is today going to bring? If you take the day, the brand new day, rightly, it is born anew. It's a new situation. It's a new opportunity for you. It's amazing what life has to offer if you take the opportunity rightly. Each day the world is born anew for him who takes it rightly. James Russell Lowell. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I looked up the pronunciation. Goethe. We must always change, renew, rejuvenate ourselves. Otherwise, we harden. Is there nothing worse? Is there nothing worse than hardening your heart, hardening your ability to feel, losing the ability to wonder at what life has to offer, to appreciate not only what the small things that life has to offer, but also to appreciate things that and moments that are shared with you by either people you love, complete strangers, or people who want to love you. And there's more, right? Once we harden ourselves to those possibilities and to those moments, we start missing out on so much. We can't let ourselves be hard to where you don't feel. Sometimes people harden themselves so they don't hurt. So they don't feel pain. They don't feel loss. They don't feel desperation. But hardening ourselves against pain invariably leads us to hardening ourselves from joy and from beauty. We must always change, renew, rejuvenate ourselves. Otherwise, we harden. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Bernard Werber. The best way to renew thought is to go outside the human imagination. Now, okay, hang on. Human imagination is limitless. Imagine going outside of human imagination to renew thought. That's just going out, I think, outside of your personally placed limits on your imagination. Because if you have a big imagination, you've got to, I mean, there is opportunity for thought galore, right? I love imagination. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes, because when your juices are flowing like creatively and things like that, and you're utilizing your imagination, let's say to create a story or to draw or to create something or to cook or whatever, using your imagination, it's beautiful. It's awesome. You're in touch with something eternal, something infinite, something universal. And when you limit your imagination, you're missing out on that. You're missing out on touching and connecting with the divine. The curse side, when you're anxious and your thoughts are racing and your mind reminds you, by the way, I have an endless imagination. And boy, let me tell you how terrible things can get. It's a flip side. It's a flip side of it. So let's look at the positive side and touch into the divine. Touch into that universal beauty. The best way to renew thought is to go outside the human imagination. Bernard Werber. Sarah Van Brethnach. The dry season in life do not last. The dry seasons in life do not last. The spring rains will come again. That's fairly simple. Your down times, your bad times, when you feel your lowest aren't eternal. They end. When it seems like there's no hope, there's no one in your life, and there's no beauty, there's no sweetness, they end. Realizing and accepting that helps the rains come. It helps end that drought in your life, that drought in your emotion, your spiritual well-being, your mental well-being. The dry seasons in life do not last. They may seem long, but they do not last. The spring rains will come again. Sarah von Brethnach. Or Bretnacht. I don't know if it's Nacht. John W. Gardner. The self-renewing man never feels that he has arrived. Wow, hey. Whoa. Okay. Let's think about this one. And let's modify the self-renewing person, right? Self-renewing person never feels that they have arrived. What does that mean? That means you never settle. You never ever think, this is it. Nothing more to do. There's nothing left in life because I've done it. You never arrive if you're always renewing yourself, renewing your purpose, renewing your thought, renewing your vigor, your vim, your energy. Just renewing yourself, renewing your mind, renewing your desire. The self-renewing man never feels that he has arrived. John W. Gardner. Got about 3 more to go. Ernesto Bertarelli. You can't change who you are, but you can change what you have in your head. You can refresh what you're thinking about. You can put some fresh air in your brain. Beautiful. I love this one. Ernesto Bertarelli. Say it with a sing song, right? Ernesto Bertarelli. You can't change who you are, but you can change what you have in your head. You can refresh what you're thinking about. You can put some fresh air in your brain. It's like spring cleaning, right? When you open up all the windows, throw back the curtains, start dusting and cleaning, throwing. So why have I kept that so long? Throw that away. It's like what is this? Why do we have a bag of receipts or whatever? Those receipts, that bag of receipts in your brain are the things that people that have wronged you, and they're just bulking up there inside your head, cluttering you, stopping you from thinking clearly, keeping you from fresh thought. Get rid of it. Delete, 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 cancel, cancel, cancel. Right? You are who you are. You can try and become a better version of who you are. And if you think who you are is not a great person, that's not who you really are. That is a clutter in your mind. That is a clutter of somebody else's expectations of you. That is a clutter of somebody else's insecurities being forced into your brain. That's them pushing their wounded self onto you. They're hurt. They want to hurt you. Hurt people hurt people. Have you ever heard that? Hurt people hurt people. Somebody else said something this weekend. Saved people save people. You can't change who you are. But you can change what you have in your head. You can refresh what you're thinking about. You can put some fresh air into your brain. I love it. Ernesto Bertarelli. Last two. Billy Crystal. I was just watching something with him this weekend. What's so fascinating and frustrating and great about life is that you're constantly starting over all the time. And I love that. Al Guevara says, every single moment we're alive is a chance at rebirth. Constantly starting over all the time. And I love that, Billy Crystal. Your decisions, your ability, and your choice to renew and refresh are never ending. It isn't like, well, I started today, I wanted today to be great, and I refreshed myself this morning, but it didn't quite go the way I wanted, so now I'm having a terrible day. No. Nope. Another moment, another chance to refresh, another chance of renewal. This quote is perfect. What's so fascinating and frustrating and great about life is that you're constantly starting over all the time. And I love that. Billy Crystal. You notice that right in the middle of that it says frustrating. You kind of just flow over it, right? Because it's bracketed by fascinating and great. It's bookmarked. It's bookended by those two, fascinating and great. So in between, you kind of gloss over where it says frustrating. Life is frustrating. There's struggle. Some of it is real and other is manufactured. Manufactured by people who are hurt. Manufactured by the hurt we've received. But if you take it all together, the quote is great. It's perfect. What's so fascinating and frustrating and great about life is that you're constantly starting over. The frustration initially becomes something that is fascinating and something that you find great. What's so fascinating and frustrating and great about life is that you're constantly starting over all the time. And I love that. Billy Crystal. Last one. Here we go. Wrapping it up. Harriet Ann Jacobs says, the beautiful spring came, and when nature resumes her loveliness, the human soul is apt to revive also. Finding joy in the renewal of nature is beautiful, but it is not limited to springtime. The renewal of the earth is constant and never ending. The spring turning into summer is renewal. Summer turning into fall is renewal. That's change. Fall turning into winter. There's a season, time and a season for everything. You know, the world turns, life goes on. People pass, people are born. We're all in this together for a short period of time. Don't forget that that time is finite. And in that finite time, you have to find a time to refresh and renew yourself. The beautiful spring came, and when nature resumes her loveliness, the human soul is apt to revive also. I don't want to spend 3/4 of the year waiting for spring to be able to renew. Every single moment we're alive is a chance of rebirth. And I'm going to end it with my favorite quote of today. You can't change who you are, but you can change what you have in your head. You can refresh what you're thinking about. You can put some fresh air in your brain. Ernesto Bertarelli. I hope you get an opportunity to get some fresh air in your brain and renew, refresh what you're thinking about, and change what you have in your head. And be the best you that you can be. I hope to be back on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Who knows what we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be a blast. And I hope you join me, whether it's live or on the replay. And if I could ask for a favor, if you could share the video, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful day. Make the most of today. Make someone's day today, even if it's yours. But take that time and do something special, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, and bring some positivity into the world. So until next time, we'll be talking.